Right now on UltraSpace, celebrated architect Lee Mindel takes us inside his stunning penthouse apartment. Also, a second home that doubles as a gallery. Find out how architects Hariri and Hariri used concrete, glass, and metal to create this warm and inviting space. Then, interior designer to the stars Thomas O'Brien takes us inside this 1833 schoolhouse, now his dazzling 6-bedroom home.
Welcome to UltraSpace. I'm Melissa Barrett Rhodes. Lee Mindel is one of the most celebrated architects in the world. His firm, Shelton Mindel, has won a staggering 16 AIA awards from the American Institute of Architects. Their work is very cutting edge, pared down, and poetic, and it's all about exploring the relationship between architecture, interior design, and the surrounding environment. And one of the best examples of this synergy is in Lee Mindel's own penthouse apartment.
Lee Mindel's loft is in a former hat factory built in the 1920s. The design of his rounded foyer is inspired by the shape of the water tower seen out of every window.
The foyer seems to be very much a central focus to the design.
The space is this one object reminiscent of the water tower. It comes from the second floor to the first floor, and it's contained in a glass cage, and that one shape defines all the spaces around it without necessarily having to do the traditional wall system.
Lee, you are an incredible collector of important furniture and artwork, which we see throughout your apartment.
I think it's bordering on obsessive compulsive, actually. In this space, we have a great table by Tom Dixon, and we were talking about the water tower. Well, the base of the Tom Dixon table kind of looks like a scaffold that holds up the water tower. And it's totally transparent. So the object in here, which is a transparent table, like an X-ray of a table, kind of foreshadows the table on the other side, which is a Jean Prouvé table.
The solid wood.
Solid wood, so it's like a little sort of yin-yang version.
Look at this beautiful living room.
Oh, thanks. Actually, the living room stretches the full width of the building, and with windows on the east and west side, you can see from the Hudson River to the East River. And then you look south and can see all the way downtown. So it's like a little perch up here in which you kind of feel the whole presence of river to river and the island feeling of Manhattan.
The space has such a great flow to it. It seems like it would be a wonderful place to have a party. Do you entertain often?
I entertain occasionally, not that often, not as much as I'd like to. I feel like I'm more an employee of the place than actually an occupant.
One of Mindel's favorite pieces is this mid-century bookcase designed by Charlotte Perriand. He put it opposite the view of the rooftops to play on the pattern of the urban landscape.
What are some of your other favorite objects in the room?
I think I like the space the best, actually.
As an object?
As an object, because it becomes a kind of platform to perceive the city as an object, and the rest follows that. But creating the kind of vessel by which you can see and frame Manhattan, I think that's the most important thing.
So how many bedrooms do you have?
Well, there are 3 bedrooms. We're actually in the master bedroom now. And the master bedroom, as are the other 2 bedrooms, are on the north side of the building, which doesn't have the kind of light that the south side has. So in an effort to kind of warm up this side of the building, a kind of symbol of a headboard was done, and the storage and the dressing room and the passage to the kitchen and a closet are clad in alternating grain change of Anna Gray wood. So it's kind of like a ceremonial, symbolic headboard which warms up the space that doesn't get the direct sunlight on the north side.
Since this is the master bedroom, it must be your sanctuary in a way. Why did you choose this particular corner of the apartment to be the master?
Well, it's actually the quietest corner. It's on the north side. It's the farthest from the elevator. But also it has an east window and the sun rises here. So it makes you very conscious of what season you're in because you get to experience the sun moving and the sun rising all the time. So at night it's very intimate, but then also that idea that you're conscious of the season and the light change in New York is a real luxury.
I see that you have some recessed lighting.
Well, in front and back, the conflict always with places that have interesting views is that interior lighting is reflected in the glass at night, which turns black, which kills the view. So we incorporated shade pockets and lighting into a kind of disciplined area so that the light bulb isn't reflected in the window, and it also incorporates the shade devices. So you can have an ambient lighting and still see the view.
These linens are so beautiful and crisp. Did you...
A lot of ironing, a lot of ironing. I slept in a laundry bag in the corner last night. But the nice thing is to take something which is so generic like linen and so plain, you know, like laundry bags or mail bags, French mail bags were done in that kind of thing. And if something so honest and so simple like that is elevated to be something elegant, and then it's nice to take things that are kind of fancy and bring them back down.
Well, it looks very comfortable and very luxurious.
You'll have to try it out sometime.
The master bedroom adjoins the master bath, which has chrome faucets that Mindel designed for Waterworks, the bath fixture manufacturer.
There's so much light in every room in this apartment.
Well, with a window over there, we were able to actually put an opening in the building on axes with the table as if Manhattan's view becomes a painting above the sofa.
I see. It's almost like a picture
It's
window,
a picture.
and it's very picturesque the way it frames the city view.
And the neat thing is that not only do you get light and views, you get light vertically, light and views, and even, as Carol Merrill would point to door number 1 or 2 or whatever, the kitchen is over here, and you again get to see outside through the building again from window to window, east to west. And the functional thing about this is that if you want to have an open scenario, it's completely open, or you can do various levels of closure. So if you want to put this over the island, the center panel becomes centered on the table with the painting on this side and the view on that side. And then you can access back and forth, or you can move them in any combination.
So this painting really echoes the
well, it's the idea there's an
size of it.
object on each axis, but it's the city here. We actually made the dining table because it's really like a piece of architecture, the table. It kind of grounds the space. So if it was a distraction from what was going on, you wouldn't be able to make the connection through from window to window. Behind each of these panels and doors is something very functional, because the only way you can give the semblance of looking organized is if you can be disorganized behind something.
And then the stuff that you choose to show is that much more sculptural.
Yeah, you kind of see it more because you don't have so many distractions. Like this is a really fun piece. They're almost like bubbles that appear in the air and that just float, but they are able to take the light and juxtaposed against the steel, it's such a nice imagery of the way to reflect and refract light.
And it's such a sinuous shape against some of the cleaner lines in the space. It really
It's
pops.
pretty pared down, though. It looks like a little kid might have been blowing bubbles and then you made it into glass.
This serpentine staircase was custom made by a metal craftsman. It was designed to twist in 2 different directions so you can see more of the view while you climb the steps.
So the double turn in the stair, you arrive into the interior of the water tower on the 2nd story, in which there's a perfect circle in a square. What was the foyer downstairs below becomes a kind of sitting room observation post upstairs. And you had remarked about how the glass walls continue. They go all the way up and culminate in this framing of the view. And upstairs, above the living room, we actually have an outdoor space which is enclosed, which is the opposite of what's downstairs. And on the north side, where we have an enclosed space in the bedrooms, we have an open space. So again, you get to experience the city completely flipped, sort of a yin-yang. Let's take a look.
Okay.
Manhattan is at our fingertips everywhere.
Mindel's firm, Shelton Mindel, drew from Manhattan's diverse architectural landscape when designing this observation post, referencing everything from the crown of the Statue of Liberty to the water tower on his own roof.
It's so interesting that downstairs you have a view of the city, and upstairs in the garden you have a view of trees.
Well, what could be more private and more intimate than having your own outdoor space that people can't see you? And so we created a kind of urban garden upstairs in which the trees become objects that sit like artwork on a terrace or a deck. And I must say it's incredible because to be in Manhattan and to look and to hear the sound of leaves and trees is really a miracle. And the faint, distant sounds of the city are very mesmerizing when you're up here.
Well, you've certainly done something that you can only do in New York, which is celebrate the city, the view, the urban landscape, and bring it inside and make it very much your own in an individual way.
As Cindy Adams would say, only in New York, kids.
Only in New York.
Coming up next, a second home that's both art gallery and urban oasis.